Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't just an actor. He wasn't just Theo from The Cosby Show or the voice behind years of poetic storytelling. On July 21st, 2025, he became something much more. A father acting on instinct, a protector in the face of danger, and ultimately a hero whose final act cost him everything. It was a family vacation. Costa Rica's Playa Grande, known for its tropical beauty and tragically its deadly rip currents.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner, dead at the age of 54 on a drowning accident while he was vacationing with his family.
Warner was there with his wife and daughter, Jeff. A normal day on the beach, but when he noticed something that worried him near the water, he didn't hesitate. Costa Rica's tourist police chief Elberth Leon later confirmed it. Warner entered the ocean to protect his daughter. Now here's the part. The headlines often get wrong. His daughter wasn't drowning. In fact, Costa Rica's judicial investigation agency later clarified she never even entered the water. But to Malcolm-Jamal Warner, it didn't matter. He saw potential danger. And without second guessing, he did what every father hopes they'd have the courage to do. He walked straight into the surf. But that was only the beginning, asterisk. The waters off Playa Grande may look calm, but they're notorious for one hidden danger: rip currents.
It's just so much. There's so much negativity in the world. There's so much. And again, look, it's current events, right? It's news. A lot of us keep up with the news through our social media happenings. But I just find that with social media, I kind of get this feeling a lot because there's so much of it is just drenched in negativity.
Powerful, invisible, and deadly. That day, no lifeguards were on duty. No red flags marked the hazard, just ocean waves. Rolling in like any other afternoon, Malcolm didn't know he was stepping into one of Costa Rica's deadliest traps. According to local officials and witnesses, Warner was with a friend when they both entered the water. Almost instantly, a current pulled them both under. The friend managed to fight his way back to shore, but Malcolm, he disappeared beneath the waves. A nearby vacationer doctor who asked to remain unnamed saw the chaos and acted fast. He grabbed a surfboard and dove into the ocean, scanning for Warner. Moments passed, then minutes. When he finally found him beneath the surface, Malcolm wasn't moving. And what happened next was both heartbreaking and heroic. Asterisk, the doctor pulled Warner to the beach, where a group of bystanders, locals, and tourists alike joined in a desperate fight to save his life. They began CPR instantly. According to reports, Red Cross personnel and emergency responders took over within minutes. 45 minutes of nonstop CPR? Imagine that, 45 minutes of strangers doing everything humanly possible to bring him back. But despite the effort, despite the hope, despite the prayers on that beach, Malcolm-Jamal Warner was gone. The official cause of death? Asphyxiation. By submersion drowning. He didn't die because of weakness. He died because he refused to hesitate. He died protecting the one thing he valued more than his own life, his daughter. But this wasn't just a private tragedy. It sent shockwaves across Hollywood and the entire world, and the reactions that followed. Some were expected, others not at all. News of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's passing hit like a thunderclap. For many, it didn't feel real. The man who once symbolized hope, intellect, and resilience on The Cosby Show gone in an instant. Bill Cosby, who played Malcolm's on screen, father reportedly broke down when he heard the news. In a somber message, Cosby called Warner his son in every way but blood. He said losing Malcolm felt like being gutted, comparing the pain to his own son's murder. A devastating parallel from a man who once mentored Warner through fame's earliest storms. Angela Bassett, Regina King, and Viola Davis also paid tribute. These were not casual condolences. These were aching, personal messages, grief spilling from peers who had shared stages, struggles, and scripts with Malcolm for decades. Social media exploded. Tributes poured in. Fans recalled the warmth of his performances, the power of his poetry, the calm leadership he brought to every set. But perhaps the most haunting tribute came from a friend who had been vacationing nearby. He didn't hesitate. He wasn't careless. He was just being a dad. Asterisk, in the days that followed, Malcolm's wife, Dr. Jennifer Warner, remained completely silent. No press appearances, no statements, not a single post. And who could blame her? They had built a quiet life. Jennifer, a holistic medicine practitioner, had always protected their family's privacy with iron walls. Their daughter, now only 8, had been raised far from paparazzi and premieres. Malcolm himself once said in an interview, "Fame is not the gift, it's the price I pay for the real blessings in my life, my wife and daughter." But that silence from Jennifer wasn't absence, it was strength. Sources close to the family say she was the one who made the decision to stop further media appearances and protect her daughter from the spotlight in the aftermath. She knew exactly what her husband would have wanted: a quiet goodbye, no spectacle, just love, grief, and time. In life, Malcolm-Jamal Warner rarely chased headlines. He wasn't the kind of celebrity who needed flashbulbs or viral moments to prove his worth. His legacy wasn't just built on fame, it was built on purpose. From his Emmy-nominated work on American Crime Story to his quietly powerful performances in The Resident and Read Between the Lines, Warner always chose roles that said something, that challenged something, that stood for something. And behind the camera, he did the same, supporting spoken word poetry, mentoring young Black actors, and speaking openly about masculinity, fatherhood, and mental health long before it was popular to do so. But his greatest role was always at home. Those who knew him best say he found his truest joy not on the red carpet, but in school drop-offs, bedtime stories, and father-daughter walks. That's why his final moments say everything. About who he was, he didn't run toward fame, he ran toward his child. And that's what makes this story stick with people, not just because he was beloved, but because his death reminds us of something achingly human: the instinct to protect the love that needs no camera, no script, no audience. Asterisk as tributes flooded in, so did speculation. Some outlets initially reported that Warner had drowned while rescuing his daughter from the water, a claim that instantly went viral. But within 48 hours, that version of events began to change. Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Agency stepped forward, gently correcting the public narrative. They confirmed that Warner's daughter was never actually in the ocean. She had been playing near the shoreline, not in immediate danger. So why did Malcolm enter the water? Police Chief Elberth Leon offered the clearest answer. Warner likely acted out of protective instinct. He may have feared she was getting too close to the waves or wanted to physically position himself between her and the tide. But the truth is, we'll never know the exact thought that passed through his mind in that split second. What we do know is this: he didn't hesitate. He reacted like a father who couldn't afford to guess. And the ocean, indifferent to love or intention, pulled him under. The conflicting reports stirred confusion, even criticism. Some questioned whether the media had exaggerated his heroism. Others defended him fiercely, saying the act of going in at all was proof enough of his love. But through it all, his family stayed silent. And what they did next surprised everyone. Asterisk 10. Days after Malcolm-Jamal Warner's passing, a quiet ceremony was held in Los Angeles. No press, no red carpet, just family, close friends, and a child holding her mother's hand. His wife, Dr. Jennifer Warner, finally broke her silence in a private letter shared with friends. In it, she wrote, "Malcolm did not pass in fear. He passed in exactly what he always did: loving, protecting, acting without pause." There was no public eulogy, no grand documentary, just the same man who never sought attention in life, being remembered in exactly the way he would have wanted, surrounded by those who knew his soul, not just his screen time. And yet, something changed in Hollywood. For the first time in years, tributes weren't just about celebrity, they were about fatherhood, about everyday heroism, about the kind of courage that doesn't look for cameras. Fans began revisiting his work. Streaming numbers for The Cosby Show surged. His spoken word albums topped charts briefly. And more importantly, conversations around quiet Black fatherhood took center stage. Online, people sharing their own stories of protective dads, lost role models, and how much one man's instinct can echo across generations. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, they didn't plan to be a martyr. He never wanted headlines for heartbreak. But in one irreversible moment, he became a symbol for fathers for love, and for the unspoken sacrifices made in silence. Not all heroes wear capes. Some just walk into the ocean without hesitation.